progress, but it's slow in coming. And President Obama, in his campaign in '08, actually one of the things that he talked about was this very issue. And it was refreshing to see that someone was taking that serious. I always stun people when I say this, and I've been saying this for many years since this case started. I honestly don't believe that anyone in this case set out to convict the wrong people for this crime. I think that it was more of a negligence type issue as opposed to a intentional type situation, and I firmly believe that. And I always stun people when I say that, make that statement. But this case is an example of how mass hysteria, and just like in Salem, Massachusetts, 400 years ago, there was a confession, and in 1993, we didn't understand the concept of false confessions. It was in its infancy, and the pioneering work of Dr. Gisli Gudjonsson in Iceland, and also Dr. Richard Offshe at Berkeley was just getting started back then. And now we know that there is such a thing as false confessions. But I myself in 1993 could not wrap my mind around the idea of anyone, even someone who was mentally handicapped, confessing to a crime they didn't commit. It just seemed something that's so foreign to me that I couldn't understand it. But once I read Dr. Gudjonsson's book and consulted with Dr. Offshe and Dr. Richard Leo out in California, these people have made tremendous strides. And also because of that work that they did, the Psychology of Interrogations, which is the title of Dr. Gudjonsson's book, is changed. And now police officers, especially those who are dealing with juveniles, they're taught to not get a coerced confession. They're taught what causes it and why it happens. And so things have changed for the better. But these police officers were trained in the old school, and the prosecutors relied on the evidence that they had, which was basically nothing but innuendo and panic. And those are the cards that were dealt them. And I know these men, including John Fogelman, who is running for the Arkansas Supreme Court, and some of the things that have been said about him in the media are just blatant falsehoods. I've watched him develop into an outstanding circuit judge in our judicial district here in Arkansas, and I've seen him suppress evidence and confessions probably more than any other circuit judge I've ever seen. So John Fogelman, one time, actually, after he left the case and took the bench, actually called me with some evidence in the West Memphis case about a similar homicide that happened up the interstate in Illinois. It was information that I already had, but that's the kind of man he is. He wants to do the right thing. Does he have regrets about some of the things maybe he said or done? I don't know. You'd have to ask him that. But I don't think that he intentionally, or anyone else for that matter, intentionally set out to convict the wrong people.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Judge.
Oh, that's okay. I've said that for 18 years now. And, when bad things happen to good people or bad things happen in general, we always want to pin a scapegoat. And that's what happened in this case. Damien Echols was the #1 scapegoat. And I've always refused to label people as the scapegoats and how this happened. It did happen. We know it has happened. We also know now because of the DNA evidence and the witness recantations that we made a mistake. But we just need to fix it. And that's why I think the state of Arkansas should be nervous, because it's apparent that the world is not going to let this go. They're going to demand justice. There's too many people involved. This is not going to get swept under the rug like a lot of wrongful conviction cases get swept, and the world is demanding justice, and they're going to have to listen sooner.
Dan, what do you think it's going to take to get these boys free? And we know now, I believe it's in September, and I don't remember the date. I want to say September the 30th.
I think that's correct.
For the last appeal for Damien Echols, and what happens after this goes on, or if this doesn't go through?
Well, what we need for justice is somebody to